Unit 8. Relationship between education and philosophy. Both philosophy and education are based on the conceptions of wisdom, ideology and critical inquiry, the difference being that philosophy is contemplative in nature while education is an active process. The philosophy of education is that branch of which is in constant quest of truth, and those who are lovers of visions of truth are called philosophers. Thus, a philosopher naturally becomes an educationist. Every man has his own philosophy of life, and it is natural that he will seek to influence and convince or convert others to his way of thinking. And education is nothing but this process of influencing, convincing and converting. Thus, education is a practical means of realizing the philosophical idea of life, and it is fundamentally dependent on philosophy. Philosophy towards life and values in general determine what we feel towards the role of education in shaping a child's character. For Egg. Earlier, corporal punishment was a preference, whereas now it is an aversion. Thus we can see that the setting and subsequent changing of a curriculum is highly influenced by the philosophy held by people at a particular point of time. The interdependence of philosophy and education and relationship between philosophy and education can be found in the lives and teachings of all great thinkers, e.g. Socrates and Dewey in the West to Yajnavalkya and in the East. And Plato's philosophy in the Republic is universally accepted as a classical treatise on education. Here is the table which summarizes how philosophy provides the foundational theories and principles that education systems and practices are built upon, influencing the purpose, methods, and ethical dimensions of education. Philosophy. Purpose. Philosophy seeks to understand fundamental truths about oneself, the world, and the relationship between them. Guiding principles. Philosophy provides the underlying principles and values that guide what and how subjects should be taught. Approach to knowledge. Philosophy questions and critically examines the nature of knowledge, reality, and existence. Moral and ethical framework. Philosophy explores moral and ethical questions, providing a framework for what should be considered right and wrong. Role in society. Philosophy offers perspectives on societal structures, governance, justice, and the role of individuals in society. Education. Purpose. Education aims to impart knowledge, skills, and values to individuals for personal and societal development. Guiding principles. Education applies these philosophical principles in curriculum development, teaching methods, and policy formulation. Approach to knowledge. Education utilizes these philosophical inquiries to shape its approaches to teaching and learning. Moral and ethical framework. Education incorporates these frameworks to develop moral and ethical reasoning in students. Role in society. Education, influenced by these philosophical perspectives, prepares individuals to participate and contribute to society. Thus, to conclude, James Ross rightly pointed out that education and philosophy are two sides of the same coin. Meaning of philosophy. The word philosophy literally means love of wisdom. It is derived from two Greek words, i.e. phileo, love, and sophia, wisdom. This tells us something about the nature of philosophy, but not much, because many disciplines seek wisdom. Since times immemorial there have been various pursuits for unfolding the mystery of the universe, birth and death, sorrow and joy. Various ages have produced different thoughts throwing light upon the mystic region. The ultimate truth is yet to be found out. This eternal quest for truth lends the origin of philosophy. A love of wisdom is the essence for any philosophy investigation. There are different schools of philosophy depending on the answers they seek to the question of reality. It is the search for understanding of man, nature, and the universe. There are different branches of philosophy, epistemology, metaphysics, etc. There are different fields of philosophy such as educational philosophy, social philosophy, political philosophy, economic philosophy, etc. There are also different philosophical approaches such as idealism, naturalism, pragmatism, materialism, and so on. Meaning of education. Etymologically, the word education is derived from educare, Latin, bring up, which is related to educere, bring out, bring forth what is within, bring out potential, and ducere, to lead. Education in the largest sense is any act or experience that has a formative effect on the mind, character or physical ability of an individual. In its technical sense, education is the process by which society deliberately transmits its accumulated knowledge, skills and values from one generation to another. In the modern times it has acquired two different shades of meaning, namely 1. An institutional instruction given to students in school colleges, formally, and 2. A pedagogical science studied by the student of education. The words of Adam, education is the dynamic side of philosophy. Philosophy takes into its orbit all the dimensions of human life. Similarly, education also reflects the multifaceted nature of human life. Therefore, education is closely related to various aspects of human life and environment. Hence, the term education has a wide connotation. It is difficult to define education by single definition. Philosophers and thinkers from Socrates to Dewey in West and a host of Indian philosophers have attempted to define education. However, education can be understood as the deliberate and systematic influence exerted by a mature through instruction and discipline. It means the harmonious development of all the powers of the human being, physical, social, intellectual, aesthetic and spiritual. The essential elements in the educative process are a creative mind, a well-integrated self, socially useful purposes and expert. The essential elements in the educative process are a creative mind, a well-integrated self, socially useful purposes and experience related to the interests of the individual, needs and abilities of the individual as of a social group. In the historical development of man, education has been the right of a privileged few. It is only in recent centuries that education has come to be recognized as a human right. All have equal right to be educated, as education has become sine qua non of civilization.